So Dragon Ball officially announced the release of its new anime at the New York Comic Con in October of last year. And although it was initially leaked as Dragon Ball Magic, the official name that was trademarked is Dragon Ball Daima, and it's going to be coming in the fall of 2024. So what is Dragon Ball Daima? So the word Daima is a Japanese pun that translates to dark magic or evil. And the whole point of the Daima series is just to celebrate the success of the Dragon Ball franchise over the last 40 years. Now, Daima starts off similar to GT, but this time instead of it just being Goku that gets turned into a kid, it's the whole entire Z Squad. And in order to reclaim their original bodies, they've got to venture off into a brand new world, which looks like the Demon Realm to me. So we might actually get some background on the world that Deborah ruled over before Babidi came to get him. Now, I know a lot of people, myself included, were a little bit upset that this wasn't going to be the season 2 of Dragon Ball Super that we've been waiting for. Because for me personally, I was hella looking forward to Moro and Granola getting adapted into the anime. Now, just because Daima is coming in the fall and currently there's no talk about a second season for Super, doesn't mean that it's not coming. Of course, one isn't just going to cancel out the other one entirely. We just got to wait for more manga content to build up so that we can adapt that into an anime. So at this point, we're just waiting on the expansion of the storyline, because let's be honest, 2 arcs, the Granola and the Moro arc, isn't going to be enough for an anime contract. That's just not going to cut it. However, I'm still very excited, very much still curious on what Daima has to offer, so I'm excited to see it. And this project's going to be major because we got the creator of Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama, that's not only much more involved in this project than he's been in previous projects, but he came up with the original storyline, the world building, the character design for the new series. So you know it's going to be fire. You know it's going to be canon and likely go in alignment with the rest of the Dragon Ball continuity overall. And you know there's going to be some expansion on a new world and how that coexists with the other realms, the world of the Kai, other world where this place falls in. And you know we about to get some new characters, which is going to cause the fleshing out of the backstory of the old characters that brings the new character into the fold. So I'm just excited to see how this is all going to play out. We got a statement from the man, Akira Toriyama himself. So you know he's excited about the new series. So man, we got a lot to dive into. But before we get into all that, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Q. We glad to have you. And if you enjoyed the video, please do leave a like, as it helps the page out a ton. And if you're a fellow Dragon Ball head like myself, go on and hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date with the wide variety of Dragon Ball content that we post on the page. So whether it's manga reviews you're looking for, Dragon Ball news and updates like this video we're recording now, and even more for your entertainment, we've got Dragon Ball freestyles, rap battles, parodies, you name it. We're either covering it now or we will be soon. So do subscribe. We'd love to make you part of the family. And without any further ado, let's get to the review. So the trailer opens up with a recap of the last 40 years of the Dragon Ball franchise. So we go all the way back to the inception in 1984. And we'll kind of speed through some of this, but 1984 is going to be the release of the Dragon Ball manga. 1986 is when the Dragon Ball anime was released. We then see in 1989 the Dragon Ball Z anime, the manga included as well. And then in 1996, the Dragon Ball GT series drops. We don't see anything until 2013, and we get the Battle of the Gods. Next in 2015, we got Resurrection F. Then we get in 2016, we got the Dragon Ball Super anime. Fire, can't wait for the next one. Can't wait for season 2. 2018, we get Dragon Ball Super Broly. Fire movie. And then in 2022, we got Dragon Ball Super Superheroes. So that brings us all the way to current. So we get our first shot of the new world that's going to be expanded on in Daima. And from what I believe, this is the Demon Realm. You know, I just say that just because, obvious reasons. It's a real ominous looking place. You got a mysterious castle in the background, but it's kind of hard to get past the raindrops that look like fire falling down from the sky. So I'm going to go with the Demon Realm. So the next image shows us the inside of the said palace, specifically the throne room, because you can see the throne right here. The next clip shows 2 new characters, the taller one resembling a Supreme Kai. So being as though this might be the Demon Realm, we might be getting introduced to the first canon Makaioshin in the storyline. Makaio-shin just meaning the evil Supreme Kai. The smaller figure looks to be the current ruler of this world, given that he's holding the staff, and not that we see him on the throne now, but later in the clip, we see the Supreme Kai looking figure standing next to the throne, so we can only assume this small-bodied person is on the throne at that time. But notice how the capes that they're wearing are oddly similar to Deborah's style of cape. And I think it's interesting that they're only concerned with analyzing the Buu saga to find whatever it is that they're looking for. Now, this could give us some more background on the motivation for these new characters. Maybe these used to be Deborah's underlings. They might be upset with Babidi that he used him and took control of Deborah and forced him to be his servant. Also, this gives us some insight on time placement for Dragon Ball Daima. We know for sure it takes place after the entire Buu saga, because when they're going through those images, we can see Goku giving the thumbs up to Vegeta after killing Buu. So this will most likely take place in the Super timeline, somewhere in Dragon Ball Super, since Kibito and Shin are no longer fused. We'll see them in a second in the trailer. But I actually got a theory for Kibito Kai's fusion, so we'll get into that a little bit later. But since they officially defused during the Universe 6 tournament arc, that leads us to believe that this is most likely going to take place after that, but again, more to come on that. Next, we see what appears to be a spy drone, which in this shot, it looks like it's on its way back home, likely returning from Earth, and I'm assuming it's a spy drone or something similar to like what Red Ribbon did. There is one shot that is going to help us scale the size of that ship. The ship is going up to someone, so either it's a really big someone or it's a normal sized person and the ship's really small. This is likely how they were accessing the footage that we saw them watching earlier. And I'm assuming the guy with glasses is like the scientist or tech support or whoever made this drone, and it's probably coming back home to him. So we see the lookout, we see the Dragon Ball scattering, but the very next shot shows Shenron being summoned in a small grassy field, which could be on the lookout because there's a few small patches of grass on the lookout. But I just think it's interesting that they're playing these clips backwards, like he's dispersing and then he's summoned in the next scene. So I feel like they're trying to throw us off with something and try to hide some details in plain sight, if you would. And I don't really know if this means anything, but it does stand out that Shenron says, "State your wish." Kind of implies that he can only grant one wish now, so that's a little weird. So me personally, I don't really think Shenron's going to even be able to help them with this. I don't think they're going to get a wish from Shenron in regards to the main plot and fixing their bodies and everything, nor do I think that this was caused by a dragon's wish. Because if you think about it, out of the 3 canon dragons, excluding the Super Shenron, of course, Piccolo refers to Porunga as the original dragon. So let's assume that being the case, Porunga, the Namekian dragon, is the most powerful since he's the OG, right? So here's my point. Goku was already confirmed to have exceeded the power of Porunga when he left Namek as a Super Saiyan. Because remember, he refused Porunga's wish to bring him back to Earth when he was on Yardrat. Now again, this is as a Super Saiyan. So being as though Daima at least takes place after the Buu saga, that means Goku's power would have literally tripled, Super Saiyan 3 being his highest form after that saga. So if Super Saiyan seems to be what puts you at that power threshold to have the degree of dragon wish resistance, then none of the Saiyans would be young if a wish had caused this. But I don't think Shenron's going to possess the power to reverse what's happening to everybody. Hence the reason why they need to go on the whole journey in the first place. Shenron would just be way too easy of a cop-out, and that would destroy the whole series. But I do think he should still be able to point them in the right direction on where to look or where to start, just like how he did for Battle of the Gods, even if he can't grant the wish. Maybe Shenron's positive wish-granting magic is weak to dark Daima magic. It's kind of hard to tell at this point, but we'll have more clarity in the fall. Next shot, we see Goku and Vegeta sparring, and it looks like Goku's got the upper hand on Vegeta, just because you could see him bleeding from his 5 head. But we see them both get turned into children, and that's following that last shot of Shenron. So it's really implying that they're really trying to go with that narrative that a wish is doing this, but again, I highly doubt that. Being as though Daima translates to dark magic, I think it's safe to say that there's some type of hocus pocus spell or some bibbidi bobbidi boo that's going on that's turning everybody young. We get another shot of Goku and Vegeta, little dudes with attitudes. They look like they're upset about something. These next couple images confirm a few things. 1, they're at another one of Bulma's parties. And then 2, this is likely where everyone gets shrunk. So we see a little Chi-Chi and Bulma, and behind them you can see the staff that Bulma likely hired for the situation. They're still standing tall as adults, and they've got shocked expressions on their face just like everybody else. Something else that backs up this claim. So as you see in the next couple images, you're going to see a couple unattended wine bottles, wine glasses, all implying that this is an adult's party. Everyone showed up full size, except Krillin, of course, and that's no longer the situation, where this is a children's party now. Next, we see a young Mr. Satan. And speak of the devil, we see Krillin next. So looks like he's about to take a leak. See him over here doing the potty dance. That's the universal potty dance. Everybody knows what that means. Then we see a young 18 and an even younger Marin, baby Wolfang Fist himself, young Yamcha, and of course his tag-along Plar and her tag-along Oolong, who are both shapeshifters, so they could turn back into their regular selves whenever they wanted to, really. Now here's something I think a lot of people have been overlooking. So earlier I mentioned that I have a theory about Kibito Kai's fusion. So when it comes to the Potara earrings, the Potara fusion, since I've been watching Dragon Ball, I've seen a total of 4 different colors of Potara earrings. I don't know if they mean something else, or some of them seem to work to the same capacity as others. And please bear with your boy, because I'm colorblind. No judgment. So we got the classic Supreme Kai orange, yellowy, light colored Potara earring. Then in Universe 6, their Supreme Kai have like greenish. Gohan's the only mortal that we see with his own set of Potara earrings, the dark blue. And then Punchline, my whole reason for bringing this up, Kibito. So he's the Supreme Kai's assistant. He's got the light blue Potara earrings. His Potara earrings have always only been light blue. Even when they first fused, they didn't even swap earrings or anything. Kibito just took off his left earring, and then Shin took off his right earring, and then they fused together. Once they became Kibito Kai, the blue Potaras were gone as well. Now, what stands out to you most when you look at what stands out to you most when you see this shot of Kibito and Shin? First thing I notice is, out of all the characters that are displayed, they're the only 2 that are looking at each other, as opposed to looking around or off camera or at the camera. Kibito's Potara matches Shin's Potara. So now the blue ones are gone. So the next thing I notice is the Potaras. So they're defused. Kibito has not been promoted, yet his Potara earring still matches Shin. Now during the Universe 6 tournament, we find out that they defused. But when we see Kibito, his blue Potaras are back. Now there's a running gag of Toriyama forgot, and we're going to hope that that's not the case, because again, Dragon Ball Daima should be following the canon continuity. The last thing that stood out to me was the fact that they're looking at each other is so perfectly convenient, because the ear that we don't see of Kibito is his left. The ear that we don't see of Shin is his right. The same Potara earrings that they took off individually. So it is my humble opinion that the reason why we're seeing them defuse is entirely because of them being converted back to kids somehow. We're not too sure how. So I say all that to say, since Supreme Kais are required to have both their Potaras, and when you defuse, you only have one Potara, and Kibito's are long gone. I mean, even the one he took off, I'm sure he still doesn't have. I wouldn't put it past Kibito's clothes beam to bring them up to compliance once again. Then we got what looks like the Ox Prince, Chi-Chi's dad, little man, with his classic helmet. Gotta love that Dragon Ball vibe. Next, we see a shot of a young Master Roshi sporting the Baldy Bean since the way back. We got a little Goten, little Trunks, and Trunks' hair seems to start out lighter and then get darker as he gets older, which I kind of think is funny how full-blooded Saiyans, their hair never changes from the day they're born. But the half-breeds definitely change. Like, everybody's got like 2 different styles, at least. So the last shot from the party, we see the cool kids table. We got what looks like Mr. Popo on the end swinging his feet. We got Piccolo sitting next to him. Kibito and Shin sitting across from them 2. And then Vegeta sitting next to Shin. Then we see Goku struggling to control himself while he's flying as he exits out of a smaller version of what looks like a Namekian spaceship. It kind of resembles Kami's old spaceship. So we get a nice shot of the lookout, and then next we see Shin hopping into that same Namekian looking spaceship with Goku and Kibito following. Last note on Kibito and Shin, they ain't never matched clothes before either, so I don't know why their clothes match now, but I don't know if that means anything. We just gonna hope Toriyama ain't forgot. Now in this shot, you'll notice that they both have both of their Potara earrings in. And Kibito's are not blue still. So the best way I can explain that to corroborate my previous theory is just by breaking down the rules of the god hierarchy. So I'm sure you noticed that every tier of deity in Dragon Ball has a dress code that they must abide by. So basically, if you're going to be a Kai or a destroyer or an angel, you must possess these things on you. Every Supreme Kai wears Patara earrings and the same type of clothing. Every destroyer god wears a gold earring and gold jewelry and the same type of clothing. Every angel has a halo and has a staff and the same type of clothing. Now, at no point is a dress code actually honed in on in Dragon Ball. You just kind of got to read between the lines. Do you remember how disgusted Kibito was with Gohan when he showed up in the land of the Kais with his battle damaged rags on? Kibito pulled out his clothes beam right off top as soon as he got the chance, so Gohan could look presentable and be in compliance with the dress code. Then we get a shot of Goku and Vegeta on the lookout. I could just hear Vegeta now, "Hurry up, Kakarot!" Now this could be connected to the earlier scene when Shenron is being summoned, because there's a bright light on the left-hand side, if you can look there. There's shadowy all behind Goku, and then this is clearly bright off to the left, so I'm assuming that they're summoning Shenron right now. Then we get a bomb shot of Goku with his Nyoibo, the power pole, and it looks like he's just training, trying to get back refamiliarized with it. Classic Dragon Ball vibes. Next, we see somebody heading to Earth in what looks like a Saiyan space pod. I'm just assuming it's that because it's a perfect spear. It's not like any of the other ships in the trailer. So maybe they're introducing a new Saiyan. Maybe they're just giving us a flashback of a previous Saiyan that landed there. Or hell, it could be Tarble for all we know. Vegeta's little brother. Next, we see Bulma under the hood of a spaceship, which could either be the Namekian-looking spaceship or the Saiyan pod-looking spaceship. Either way, Mrs. Fix-It to the rescue. Then it cuts right back to Goku while he finishes up his power pole combo. And then you see what looks like the sun. So we see a fiery sphere, and then it changes into a Dragon Ball. Now after that, we see an elderly eye, and it looks like a Namekian's eye. But besides Piccolo, Dende, the only other Namekian that has any kind of significance in the storyline right now is still someone we have yet to meet, the creator of Super Shenron, Zalama. So either we're finally going to be able to meet Zalama, or this is a new Namek. Next shot, you see Shin and Goku pass asleep. And from this next shot, it looks like the spy drone is crossing through dimensions. And that looks like the entry point, that it's entering Earth. This shot right here might confirm my theory about the Nimbus, just because that free fall, and we saw how Goku's flying nowadays, so I'm pretty sure, especially with this dinosaur, that we've got this shot of the dinosaur just kind of going with him. I'm thinking he's back on the Nimbus Cloud. There's a new burger joint that's seemingly in the demon realm, or the new world, whatever the new world is going to be called, but a nice little burger spot. Saiyan's gotta eat. Next, we get a couple shots of the landscape, and we see some kind of barrier in the second one here looks like that's concealing the palace itself that we saw earlier. And that's where it looks like the spy drone is returning back to. Now we got another shot of an eye, and at first I assumed that was an angel just because of the skin tone and the eyelashes. That's usually like their features, but then I realized the only angels that have white eyebrows is only the Grand Priest. Everybody else has black eyebrows. So I'm going to go with this being the Kai that we see at the beginning of the trailer, just because all the Kais have white eyebrows, and this somewhat goes with the skin tone. So we see someone watching Babidi on a big screen, and they're shaking their fist at him, so they're pretty upset with him. Must be, like I was saying earlier, could be Deborah's minions or somebody that's got beef with Babidi. I'm assuming that this was the ruler that was in the palace earlier with the Kai. I've never actually seen a Kai wear gloves, so I'm sure this isn't the Kai. And we get one last shot of the landscape of the new world, and it's the new world because there's floating onions in the background. Now we get a shot back in the palace. We've got the Kai sitting next to the throne, which kind of confirms what I said previously. And it looks like the Babidi Marathon is still running strong with no commercials. Next, we cut back to what looks like Goku and Vegeta's initial spar from the beginning of the trailer. They're back at full size, and we see them trading blows, having a classic beam struggle. Gotta love the animation, by the way. Gotta love the quality. But we end the trailer with Goku squaring off against a robot, which looks like it's probably created by the same person that made the device that's going across dimensions spying on the Z-Squad. And look at Goku, Saiyan blood pumping indefinitely. Look at that smile. And there y'all have it. That confirms the Dragon Ball Daima teaser trailer. So let me know in the comments, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for the release of the Dragon Ball Daima series? And if you enjoy the work that we do here on the page, please leave a like and go ahead and subscribe so you can get more videos like this. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace, y'all.